What's up guys, this is Vanilla, not a flavor which is sweet. So I was given the opportunity to watch the new animated film Uchiage Hanabi here in Japan. Yes, I watched it in the theaters, so don't ask which site I watched it in. Of course I had various choices like No Game No Life or Mahokoko no Rai the movie. The reason why I wanted to watch Uchiage Hanabi was because I was moved by the soundtrack by Daoko and Kenshi Onizuka. So I thought, why not watch the movie? I mean, the music video was pretty awesome. And so I did. And it was almost perfect. Now I won't go into further detail because I already wrote a review about this movie back in Mal. Links in the description if you're curious. Anyway, while I personally think that it wasn't bad, the rest of the otaku community, especially here in Japan, thought otherwise. Some say that the adaptation didn't do the original justice, and some complained about the voice acting roles given during the production of the movie. And while they argue about these issues, I am suddenly reminded that this feels familiar, sensing a familiar pattern, something that I've totally seen before, and I got it. Their actions were similar to when the Attack on Titan live action movie came out. So it got me wondering, is adapting a live action to anime just as bad as adapting an anime to live action? In short, is live action to anime as bad as vice versa? Now, when you hear the word adaptation, we assume that the adapted media would follow its source 100%. But in actuality, that's not what adaptations are supposed to do. According to Webster's dictionary, not Wikipedia because I ain't no hipster, adaptation is a version of a literary composition rewritten for a different medium, meaning it's not an accurate recreation of the original, but rather a transformation of the original which caters to a specific and new audience. And so even if the movie didn't show that one scene in that anime, it's acceptable because the goal is not to be accurate. The goal is to make those new to the franchise or that form of media interested in the newly introduced media. As long as it accomplished that goal, then it already counts as an adaptation, and everything else is secondary. Let's take the most hated anime adaptation in existence, Dragon Ball Evolution. The reason why it was so bad, other than the whitewashing and the overall shitty plot, was because it was created for the sake of being created. They made the movie thinking it would cater to fans of the original series, but man did they fail on that. There was no point in catering to an audience who already knew about the original source. Doing so would have the audience expect 100% accuracy, which is, again, not the goal of an adaptation. Now let's take Rurouni Kenshin, the live-action movie. While it did remain loyal to its main source, they modified the story to cater to new audiences, accomplish its goal by transforming an anime format into a live-action format, where even viewers who's never even heard of the series would enjoy the movie. It was only after interest has been achieved that they focused on its accuracy. Now, I've never watched the 1993 film Uchiage Hanabi, but the 2017 adaptation still captured my interest because, first of all, it's anime. Second of all, it didn't try to make itself forcefully invite people who's already seen the original movie. So again, the goal had been accomplished. But is that the only factor we put into when we say an adaptation is good or bad? What about its production? Just because it reached the first goal, it doesn't mean it's already safe from criticism. If the movie's production is bad, then no one would even watch it or recommend it. I mean, it is still a film after all, so you should make it a film. And films are a form of entertainment, which aims to, wait for it, entertain. The story is good, but the graphics are shit, or if the graphics are amazing, but the plot is shit, then can you really say that it entertained you? Let's take the Attack on Titan live action movie as an example. Now this movie accomplished the first goal by transforming the original into a new product while not straying from its roots. Moreover, it was premiered outside of Japan to cater to new audiences as well, but unfortunately the graphics were laughable to say the least. I mean, the Titans were literally just people's faces edited using Photoshop. I'm not even kidding on that. Watch the movie. You know what I mean. Now compare that to Ghost in the Shell. Whilst people still regard whitewashing as an issue in this movie, even though it's not a big deal, you can't deny that it's a good adaptation. With a big celebrity starring as the main character and science fiction slowly rising to popularity, the film immediately captures the viewer's attention. So, the first goal has been achieved. What about the production value? Were the graphics good? Fuck yeah! What about the story? Fuck yeah! Have I seen the movie? Fuck no! But did I watch the trailer? Fuck yeah! Going back to Ichiage Hanabi, so was the movie good in terms of production? Well, I can undoubtedly say that it is. Its tantalizing visuals and simple yet dramatic dialogues are on par with previous movies such as Kimi no Na wa and Koi no Katachi. Yeah, Shaft really outdid themselves in this movie. Also, the characters weren't anime, but actual people. There were no character tropes or overuse of exaggerated expressions. I guess that makes sense because it is an adaptation of a live-action film. Lastly, let's talk about the trait that dedicated fans won't stop bitching about. Accuracy. Since we've established that the first priority is proper adaptation and production comes in second, we can discuss the importance of accuracy to the adaptation. Remember when I said adaptation comes first and everything else is secondary? Well, this is where the secondary part comes in. So how important is it? Well, it depends on what you're trying to adapt. Even if you had the best directors and the best equipment, it would still be difficult to recreate something that cannot be replicated in the physical world. Yes, I know that to make up for that, most films use CG, but overuse of this feature would destroy the aesthetics of the movie. So the first thing to take in consideration is the limit of real-world resources. Now, romance series tend to be adapted easily because there's not much restrictions when it comes to filming. But even if you manage to film a scene with the adopted characters and settings, you'll have to take into account the personalities of the characters, the themes and the motives, the twists and turns, etc. before you release the final product. Absence of these elements would lead to bad accuracy. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but I'm gonna use that word anyway. One example of bad accuracy is the recently released Netflix movie Death Note. I'm not gonna judge this movie based on how it was adapted because it already accomplished the first goal, capture the newcomers' attention with the newcomers being Netflix watchers and get them interested to the concept which came from the anime. I also can't thrash on its production. Yes, it's more grotesque than the original, but that's how you appeal to the viewers, especially today's viewers. Also, Ryuk was on point. I really want to hate this movie, but it accomplished the first two goals, so I can't bash on it. One thing I can do is talk about its inaccuracy. It didn't have the same amount of intellectual battles in the original, and that's one of the aspects that actually made Death Note good. And by changing Light into a whiny, easily manipulated teenager, he wasn't as memorable as the anime counterpart. So, is there a live-action adaptation that actually fulfilled all the requirements? As a matter of fact, there is. And it's Edge of Tomorrow. It adapted the original source while casting a big celebrity as the protagonist to appeal to new audiences. It mixed real-life environments with computer-generated graphics and made it more appealing. And they preserved the themes in the original, making it an example of a great adaptation. Then what about Uchiage Hanabi? Did it fulfill all of the requirements? Intense reading! Honestly, I wouldn't know because I didn't watch the original, so I have no reference. By the way they made the animated film, it made me think, does it even matter? I mean, I enjoyed the movie without prior knowledge of the original. I mean, I came for that movie, not the original. Please don't take that out of context. At the end of the day, I still enjoyed watching it. And so even if it didn't fulfill any of the requirements, if I enjoyed it, then the film had already accomplished the true goal, the undying goal. It's to tell a story. But what do you guys think about this? Is live action to anime a bad idea? Also, have you seen the new Uchiha Hanabi movie? If so, what do you think about it? Leave all those in the comment section below. Anyway, that's all for me. I hope you learned some things, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe down there for more videos like this. As always, this is vanilla, not the flavor, which is the sweet.